show does not necessarily reflect the views of the host, sponsors, or operators of this radio station. No part of this program may be copied or reproduced in full or in part without the express written consent of the producers of the McKinney Media Group. This is Hard Copy on the McKinney Broadcasting Radio Network, and Hard Copy seeks to lay out the facts in simple fashion for the inclusion of all Bahamians and Bahamians at heart. The focus every day to move forthright in our manner to build a progressive and developing country. Our desire is for a Bahamas with a competent, skillful, and productive workforce. We want a country that can feed and sustain itself. We want a country with a brilliant visionary action plan, ready to embrace a future of hope and prosperity. We encourage like-minded Bahamians to participate with intelligent and honest contributions. After all, my friends, we have a country to build. We've got jobs and industry to create, a people to inspire and empower, and generations of born and unborn Bahamians we the people must protect and plan for. And if not you, then who? If not now, then when? Today on this Friday, we are talking on an open line just about every and anything you want to talk about, including a whole lot about current affairs. This is Hard Copy. That's the right soundbite. That's the right. What's that? He gave me a thing for KB. He gave me a thing from that boy this morning, Brandon.
Brandon, I think he's in the system.
No, did you get it from Nathan?
No.
All that time Nathan been back here, you ain't get that?
Well, I was excited doing stuff for the weekend. He's excited doing the. He got, I think he's
But I told you to get that from him. You might tell you that? So where you going?
Give people information what they don't really think about.
And I mean, it's the bomb.
I am just amazed. Keep up the good work. I'm one of those persons out here who believe in everything that you're doing.
That's what I mean. He has a more calm, a more balanced, and a more tranquil attitude with the people that call in the show. So I would say he's a better speaker or show host.
One show I think even people need to listen to are talking.
It is Friday, the first day of April. Did anybody play any tricks on you today, or do we still play that? As you battle the congested city streets and drive home traffic, we have fair skies for you, nice blue skies. It's been hot today. Perhaps got somewhere up around about 95 or thereabouts. Right now on the outside, it is 90 degrees in the shade here in Nassau, and there's going to be a low tonight of 75 and clear skies with a 20% chance of rain. Thank you so much for joining us on the drive home. I'm Steve McKinney. This is Hard Copy. We are brought to you today by the Clico Liquidators, giving you back some monies. NIB, the National Insurance Board, Nassau Motor Company, Junkanoo Carnival, Commonwealth Bank, the Ministry of Tourism, promoting domestic travel, Kalina Insurance for comprehensive coverage. We're also brought to you today by the Bahamas Foot and Ankle on Blake Road, Superwash, 10 locations, Bank of the Bahamas, the Bank of Solutions, Super Value, the All Bahamian Supermarkets, the McKinney Media Group, for effective PR concepts and advertisements. Advantage Insurance and Brokers, 61 Collins Avenue, Ron's Electric Motors, Claridge and Wolf Road, Sky Bahamas, professionals in every way, every day. We're also brought to you by Kalina Financial Advisors Limited, CFAL, Executive Printers. They do printing right. They print laser checks with 15 security measures. Henry F. Store, the light people on Mackey Street, Buddy's Wings and Greens and Fox Hill Road. You want to go by and check them out. Well, today on Hard Copy, we are going to open our lines for you. We believe that there are some people who want to give us some feedback. And so we want to be an equal opportunity provider by allowing you to give the feedback that you perhaps want to give. And we're listening to what you have to say and providing that feedback, because so many things have been going on in the past few weeks, the past few months. A lot of things have been going on. There are some who are of the view that media has not been good to them. There are some who are of the view that media has really been doing their own thing and have not been following the facts. And this is the general media. This is what some people say. This is my feedback. I'm sharing it with you because we're in this thing together. We are in business together to build the Bahamas. And if it's their problem, it's our problem. If they think that the media has been unfair, I want to hear that from you today. What are your thoughts? If they think that we shouldn't be talking about several things that are happening in our country because they just don't like it, what do we do? Is there still freedom of speech in the Bahamas? Do we still have freedom of the airwaves? Are there people who are trying to censor what media is doing? Are there people who are regretting that media has been able to go out and investigate and do things and find out information? Yes, we'd be the first to agree that not everything that is in the media in a big way makes a whole lot of sense to some people. But of course, we don't make the news. We present the news, and I Everything is not going to be a bed of roses. Your mom should have told you that. In some cases, some things will not be so good. Today, I had a very challenging day. But the good thing is that you face these challenges knowing that you are a person of good spirit, clean hands, a good reputation, and honest. And when you fall down in your weakness, you ask the Lord to boost you up, give you the strength. And if I can do that, you can do it. But don't bring this nonsense about what are you all in media doing. Don't bring that, because I believe that I'm very responsible and I know exactly what to do as a journalist, as a Bahamian, as a nationalist. Anybody who says contrary, well, that's their opinion, but they can't back that up with facts. And I say that today openly because I'm ready to talk about it. If you're ready to talk about it, don't be afraid. They tell me that every time I come on in the afternoons at 5 o'clock that some people start to shake. But you can only shake if you're guilty. Don't shake. And I'm not going to just do things because I could. I'm not like that. Don't get it twisted. I'm going to talk about the people's business, and anytime I feel the people's business is threatened by individuals who have agendas, we will speak to it. You can be assured of that. And no amount of texting, these constant texts that I get from some who are homosexuals, will threaten the good commentary on this show. You hear what I said just now? I mean that. Because I've been inundated by a small group, I suppose, who in fact continuously texts nonsense all hours of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning. Hey, Greg, I know who you are. So believe you me, those text messages will be turned over to the Commissioner of Police. But there'll be no intimidation. This is hard copy. Like I say, I'm ready. 325-0235 or 6. 325-0242-43. 325-0252 You can send me a text today at 376-9234. You can, in fact, send me WhatsApp, 376-9234. And you can get us on the World Wide Web at peace1075.com. You can also get us on the cable top box at 970. And you can get us on the internet, of course, TuneIn Radio, iPad, iPhone, any Android. And we'll be happy to share the information with you. You can also get us on Twitter. And of course, you can get us on Facebook, hard copy on Facebook. Now, of course, as I talk today, there are some things that we need to bring to your attention. One of those matters would be the fact that everybody's been talking about Cuba and the Bahamas and what that could mean, because Cuba's opening up. Is there anything to be afraid of? No, I don't think so. But the reality is that they're opening, and the reality is that we've got to be prepared for whatever they do, that we are still in the front of the game. I maintain that. Now, there are some who have been playing politics and want to talk bad about what the Ministry of Tourism has done just because it's politics. Well, forget about the political people in the ministry and look at the work that's been done and the work that is being done. And I say it's a good effort. I can say that. I know because I produce a Ministry of Tourism program once a week, every week. And they are doing some things. Mind you, more can be done. A whole lot more can be done to involve more local Bahamians. I spoke with Minister Obi Wilshcombe, who told me that his mandate is to talk very soberly and directly to local entrepreneurs in the business of tourism directly to get them more involved. He has been doing a number of things to get domestic tourism going. Yes. And that's a good thing. I support that. It is what's needed. But there's more that's needed. There are other entrepreneurs who have been doing a number of things in tourism but they don't get the requisite support that they should get. And we're all Bahamians. And so to do the best, to make sure we put our best foot forward, we need all hands on deck. Don't we say we must pay attention to the exit reports by people who say, well, they didn't like this, they didn't like the other thing, they didn't like how the prices were too high, they didn't like how nasty the place looked, they didn't like how people were not being friendly that they used to be. And we use those informational pieces to do a better job. You mustn't down that. You mustn't take that personal and say they talking bad with tourism. Everybody knows that tourism is everybody's business. And so we need all hands on deck. So don't get funky believing that tourism is an exclusive thing among some people who are the I suppose, the prized workers of tourism from the Ministry of Tourism or tourism agencies. Don't get it twisted. Every Bahamian, whether he's selling conch, diving conch, fixing straw bags, or selling straw bags, they are part of the tourism project. Let us get that in our heads. Let us make sure that the hair braiders and the taxi cab drivers are just as important as anybody else. And so when we talk on a national show like Hard Copy about the product, don't take it personal. Do better to improve it. Because maybe people are telling you something that they don't have enough and sufficient involvement. Because it's not an exclusive right in tourism. I wanted to say that on my chest. I might as well tell you that. Don't believe that only certain people care about the tourism product, because tourism feeds all of us. And that's why you hear me say all the time, we must be friendly to the tourists. We must do some things, not be subservient, but be servants, people of service, because that's what we're selling. And that's the main ingredient as to why people are fearful about Cuba, because you know that those people are going to go over and beyond to blow the people away. The place is already full of mystery and intrigue, and people are going to go there quite naturally. Even Bahamians going down there. So let us not get it twisted to believe that, boy, this ain't gonna be no problem. You're all talking about this can be a problem. Nobody wants it to be a problem. What we want it to be is fantastically beautiful for all who are participants, for all who are involved. And our country can only prosper. I feel that I have to tell you that because I see where some people are getting it twisted. Now, this morning on the morning show, I hosted for Brother Anthony Forster, who was out on vacation. He's going to be back on Monday, by the way. For those of you who missed him and were tired of hearing me, he'll be back on Monday. But I hosted the morning show. We did a segment inside that is called Coffee and Conversation, which is a usual segment in the early morning Mornings in Motion show. And this morning I had Brendan Folks on with me this morning. He's I call him an ambassador in tourism. He's a veteran in the game. And we got to talking the same thing, because it's on everybody's lips, about tourism and Cuba and all that. And there were some very interesting things that could be learned from it. His idea was for us to go back and do some things and recreate some things that we used to do. I spoke with John Bostwick days ago, same idea. We have to do some things that we used to do. I'm hoping that the players, the agents of tourism, make notes of these things. Don't take it as something bad. Take it as something as constructive criticism or constructive observations for us to do better. That's important. And if you can't heed what people say, then we ain't growing. We're not going to grow. You got to take the good with the bad. I want you to understand that. So this morning I talked with Brendan, and we talked about a number. Of things. His name is Brendan. Okay? You may have written down Brian. His name. I know who I talked to. It's my producer I'm talking with now. But no, Brendan Folks. That's who I talked with this morning, and I hope that's the soundbite you got. And I talked to him about any number of things, including how we're going to do some things and what could be some of the recipes going forward and recommendations. And I don't know what part of the soundbite he gave me, but here's what Brendan told me this morning on the topic of what about Cuba and all that. We're going to be fine, friends. Let me tell you that first. We're going to be fine because it's going to take them a while to catch up. So we're going to be fine, but we got to make sure that we're working on this product. Okay?
back together, you know?
That's the whole idea. So you know, if we can get it back together in this tourism thing, because some people believe that we've
Yeah, Brendan Folks talking with him this morning on the Mornings of Motion show. And of course, that's because the whole issue with this Cuba thing is very relevant and very important. And it would be good that we would get to the occasion where a lot of things that's happening elsewhere can happen here because we set the pace. We're supposed to be the best. It's better than the Bahamas. And I want us to all appreciate that we got to mean that. And we got to mean that by our attitudes. We got to mean that by our association, by our determination, by our work ethics, by the way that we go at things every day and try our best to be perfectionists in what we do. That's what we've got to do. And we've got to do that by investing in the people who've been building this country in tourism, whether they're in the hotel sector as hospitality givers, whether they are top management. We've got to get back to the basics where we are involving our people. Further to that, we've got to get back to the point where the old things that kept us going strong as far as musicians and entertainers are concerned, that becomes a major part of the tourism fabric one more time, because that is what people are traveling for, in case you don't know. People are traveling for that. When the Ministry of Tourism is doing a hell of a job up in the European market right now, sending people down here because that place that we've been talking about and a little bit concerned about Cuba, they've always had tourists coming from the European market into Cuba direct. They've always had it, and they've got the biggest, I suppose, number of visitors going to Cuba from Canada, from Germany, from Europe. And that's always been the case. Now, we are in that market, and we have been trying to penetrate that market one more time to make sure that we get just the same. And I believe that the tourism ministry has the focus in the right place of trying to make that happen. And so when people say, well, you can't send him, but Obie Wilson goes, that's Steve Boy, that's foolishness. The fact of the matter is that he has been doing some things under his leadership to make some things fly in tourism. Now, you heard Brendan talk about the amount of tourists going to Cuba. They just had Mick Jagger and the Rolling Stones down there, a major sell-out of a concert, Barack Obama and these people. A lot of things are happening because people are focused there. But guess what? Grand Bahama, the second city, Freeport, they just received their 1 million visitor last month, the end of a couple of days ago in Grand Bahama. That's an achievement. That's an accomplishment. And so things are happening, even though we say that nothing has happened for the people on Grand Bahama. They're getting tourists going to Grand Bahama, and they're getting the numbers down there, and things are beginning to turn around in the economy, in the scale of tourism. We heard about James Smith. James Smith is the former governor of the central bank and the former state minister for finance in the Bahamas. And he had made a criticism that is a very on-point criticism that tourism has to do more to grow the economy. And I'm understanding that he is talking about the economy by and large in Nassau. More things has to happen when these people come in. That means that we've got to have more things for them to do. That's been a part of the exit service for years, that Nassau need more things to do. You heard Brother Patrick call and told me that the other day on the show when we were talking about things that were happening from the early 70s. So there's a lot of work to do, and so nobody needs to be bent out of shape about the work that needs to be done. Some work is being done, but some more work needs to be done too. And I wanted to say that to tell you more about what is happening here. We heard what James Smith said. We know that this is true, but there's also some other things that the International Monetary Fund said as it relates to the economy, just so that we could be on the point of fairness. The International Monetary Fund, the IMF, said, look, yeah, the Bahamas economy isn't growing that much, perhaps by 1 point some percent. All right. But at least the growth that we see has been directly as a result of tourism. Now, if they were doing completely nothing, if they were completely flat, we would not have a growth overall as far as the economy is concerned in the Bahamas. It's no big growth that we can have many jobs as a result of it, or that we can say, hey, we're back in business now. But at least that is where the sustainable growth has been in tourism. Can we set it all around in the other areas like agribusiness or fisheries? And can we? Financial services sector? Man, we have a hell of a battle on our hand with the financial services sector. Right now, I was reading where, what's his name, the former minister responsible for finance, that's what you call, not finance, banking, what you call, financial services sector. Ryan Pinder was just away making a speech the other day about a number of things, and he was lamenting the fact that, you know, the pressure is on for the Bahamas in the financial services sector because of corresponding banks no longer doing a lot of business in the Caribbean hub. And a lot of banks are pulling out, as we know. And that is causing us serious concern. That is going to be a critical thing futuristically, and I'm talking about short term, in our neck of the woods for our economies. We won't be able to grow a number of things if they are doing some things in banking that are adverse to our growth and development. And so the correspondent banks, local commercial banks, have been disengaged by many of the correspondent banks. And I get to know what I'm talking about because I talk with people like Paul Moss and others who understand this on a regular basis. The corresponding banks. You heard us talk about that before when it came to the fact that the government of the Bahamas would have had to get the kind of, I suppose, blessing in the Financial Action Task Force, FATCA, because what? The corresponding banks were giving a serious tongue lashing and cold shoulder to the local commercial clearing banks. And so this came about when we were talking about the gambling thing, that if these gamblers put all this money up in these banks, the commercial banks like Royal Bank and First Caribbean and even Commonwealth Bank and them who were making noise, that they were afraid to touch this money because this money would have been considered ill-gotten gains, and we had leave to have the Attorney General go and do her job to make sure that we had clarity on what's going to happen with people putting monies into the banks, the business that were considered to be like the gamblers. I want to say they were considered to be illegal, but now they're legal in our jurisdiction. But those corresponding banks, if they don't clear those checks, if they had to pay out a third party, the local commercial banks were concerned about that. So I said all that to say this, the financial services sector is kind of like sick and ailing. And that's why we've got to get on the ball. That's why we've got to big up tourism. That's why they have to get the support. That's why we have got to do more things to grow our economy by diversifying our economy in other areas. Because this banking thing, we make a mess of it. That's supposed to be our second big pillar in the economy. But we're losing out on that. The kind of spin that those people at the high level of international money transactions are putting on us, you know what's happening with that? That's causing people to shy away from the Bahamas with these kinds of things. And you're seeing it slip away. So I talk these things because they're important for us to gather ourselves together around, and for the movers and shakers of this country to stop being foolish, petty-minded, and spiteful, and get on with the business of running this country. It's a lot of work to do. And I'm no expert in the area, but the experts know exactly what I'm talking about. You may not know what I'm talking about with all the details, but the experts know what we're talking about, and it is not that good and pretty. So let's remember that. Now, I'm not ready to take the break yet because, in 5 minutes, I've got something else to share with you. A couple of months ago, I spoke with the Minister of Tourism, and I spoke with him on the point that this Cuba-Bahamas thing, this continues to be a concern in certain circles. So I spoke with Mr. Wilsham on the Bahamas and the Cuba scenario, what it means, et cetera, and I want to share that with you. The soundbite with Wilsham on Bahamas and Cuba.
You're going to Cuba for Cuba. For Cuba, it's revolution. The vehicles, the old vehicles, the Chevys of the 60s and the 50s, you're going to Cuba for its food, for its people, for its dance, for the Tropicana. When you come to the Bahamas, you're coming for our history, our colonial past as well. You're coming for who we are, what we are, where we come from. That's what people want to know. All surveys show that people come from your country looking to be a part of you.
Yeah, he told me that a couple of months ago. He also told me this a couple of months ago. Obi Wilsham on Cuba tourism.
Cuba now does more than 3 million overnight visitors a year. If you ask the Cuban Minister of Tourism, and I did, wonderful gentleman, has been in the office 11 years, along with serving Minister of Tourism in the world right now. If you ask him which your number one market, he said Canada. He says also number 2 and number 3. Yes. He dominates Canada.
And Europe.
And then Europe. Europe followed right after that. They do extremely well. They know that once they open the mystique of Cuba, the history of Cuba, they're going to attract a whole bunch of Americans. Many Americans, and this is something you would wish to know, who have gone to Cuba, the Bahamas has been their route. More than 51% come to the Bahamas.
Is that why we are working something with Cuba?
Well, let's go to that point. Cuba said to us, and the Minister of Tourism in particular talked about his friends. Said, we know the Bahamas is a friend. Havana Tour has been here for a long time, and Havana Tour has been able to carry passengers from the Bahamas, from the United States, to Cuba.
Welcome back to Hard Copy, and I'm listening out to what you have to say as well today as we open our telephone lines and let you know that you can express yourself on any issue that you feel is important to you. It's been a big week. A lot of stuff happened this entire week, and of course, yes, we are interested in hearing what you have to say as well, because this is all about the forward movement of a nation called the Bahamas, who right now is, kind of in a position that doesn't look pretty from an international circle, but we'll be okay there too, because those who are guilty of doing fool, they will be found out by Joe Public in due course. And if you continue to do folly, you'll be caught by your bad behavior eventually, because people got the Facebook on, they got the smartphones on, they got the videos on, all this kind of stuff is happening. And so there is great scrutiny that's in the country. And politicians of today are going to have to get used to the fact that, boy, these days, these people record you right on their phones. You got to get used to it. This is the environment that we're now in. It's not a friendly environment. It's a very liberal environment. There are people who have taken certain liberties to do all kinds of stuff that are not so good. But all of these things, they can come back to haunt you. That's why you must be above board. And just say what you have to say based on the facts. And some people ain't gonna like it. But that's okay, but you say it with love. And some people ain't gonna all believe it. That's okay too, because that's not your job. I always tell people, when you see the fellas that come around, so they witnessing to you, you're supposed to listen to what they say, and they're supposed to have one thing in mind. Let me tell this fella about this message that I have from the good Lord. And the message is this. And he just tells you, the Lord loves you, etc. That's not his job to make you believe. You believe if you want to believe. If you want to reject it, that's up to you. But he did his job. He gave you the message. Likewise, with us as reporters and broadcasters and journalists, we can only tell you. You can accept or you can reject. But at least you got the message. And then you know what to do with it. 325-0235 or 6. I want to segue into some other areas. And let me take a call or two on the telephone lines, if you will. 325-0234 or 35. And talk to me. Hard Copy, how are you?
Good evening, Mr. Steve.
Hi there.
Blessed, it's wonderful to hear you continuing your support for the beach access on Paradise Island. This is your public relations, the Association of Public Relations Officer. I want to bring to your attention the association, the Cabbage Beach Vendors Association. We do appreciate your support. I mean, and the freedom of press, as how you begin your message. Because at this point, there is, I heard, and I was listening to you last night, and you said the matter was quiet at this time, but I want to bring to your attention.
I talked about it. I talked about it being
the Cabbage Beach Association. We are at a point.
Sound of silence.
That on our recent meeting with the minister, he has made some promises and promises which we feel at this time is tangible because of his immediate response to supporting the association as it relates to the way forward.
Okay.
That passageway being, as one of the attorneys, my attorneys, especially a vendor, who has supported us, Mr. John Boswick, and Mr. Hassan Boucher also. He has said that he agreed with the association that we should be. The minister said at a recent meeting, Mr. Obi Wishcombe said that you see it is good that the passageway be, as it is confirmed, a right of way, a street. And we even look forward for it to be in paved. And that we rejoice in. So far there is peace. We thank God for the Commissioner of Police, his kindness in dealing with the recent response to the gate being locked we one time the commissioner of police.
Okay, slow down. You're going too fast for me. I hear you. You say you're the PR man for the Vendors Association. Good.
Yes, this is Rodney St. George Tiger, the public relations officer.
I see. Okay.
I want to really want to because the chief inspector of Paradise Island, him and his team, we really want to say thanks to Mr. L. Rose, the chief inspector.
Yeah, I hear you. What I'm trying to gather from you so that we all can be on the same page. Are you speaking to the beach access, the original beach access that was right where it, I mean, that was the original one that we went.
Also, I want to bring the attention that
Lord have
access
mercy.
is confirmed that is used also.
Yeah, but listen to me. Listen to my question, okay? I know in your exuberance you want to tell me all kinds of stuff, and I can't blame you if you want to thank some people. We'll let you do that. But listen to what I'm asking you. The beach access, the access road to get to Cabbage Beach, the original one.
If you'd like to make a call, please hang up.
He's gone. Well, you're out of the minutes. I was trying to determine from him whether he's saying the access, the original access, is still open, and that's why he's thankful, or if he's talking about the one that is in the east, a mile and a half to the east by the sewage plant, if that's what he was talking about. I couldn't determine that. He was so busy trying to thank people that I didn't determine that. At least I didn't seem clear to me. Did it seem clear to you? Okay, so maybe he'll call me back, get back on the phone and talk with me, because you're the PR man, you say, and I know you want to do your job. All right, so get back on the line and talk to me. All right, and I'll appreciate that. 325-023546. And as I said, this country is, sometimes it makes me wonder what we are dealing with sometimes. But I do know that we didn't hear anything from any responsible party to this matter from the new owners of that property, Access Investments, and we didn't hear anything from the government. As I said, Leslie Miller had made a promise to me live on radio this morning that he would call me and give me the 911 on where we are as a country, if in fact we have lost that access for good, if we are working on some new access, if we have adopted this new one that's further east, and if we're going to develop that. I just want to know, because I can't seem to get that from anybody else, and only those in the government would be at the best as authorities to deal with that matter. Right? Okay, let me move on. 325-023546 is how you can call, and you can also text me, and you can WhatsApp me at 376-9234. Let me slow down. 376-9234. 376-9234. That's how you WhatsApp me. That's how you text me. How you call me? 325-023546. Okay? All right. Sorry about that. Normally on Fridays, we would have Dr. Elwood Donaldson with us. He's been a fixture for many years. In recent times, he's become an ambassador, a part of the diplomatic corps, so he's been basically, at a point where he has not been talking as much and not been as active as much. But I want Dr. Donaldson to know this evening, so he's listening, that the public is demanding that you return to your post on the Friday tradition. They expect you to return to your post because the country is in dire straits, they believe, and certainly they need to have your good wisdom on a number of issues. And so they want to hear from you, sir. And I've been inundated with all kinds of text messages and stuff along those lines, and letters of request and emails. I got several emails last week and a couple more this morning. And I said to them, well, there's nothing I can do if, in fact, Dr. Elwood Donaldson is not at this particular time ready to engage because he is on diplomatic duties right now. But I just thought that I'd say publicly that those who may be holding him to the whole criteria of doing only certain things as a diplomat and not talking to his fellow colleagues in the nation, they may want to rethink that, because Dr. Donaldson is a man who has a lot to say, and I think that people want to hear what he has to say. And so I only tell you that because of the many requests. I just got one just now again, you see, and I'm reminded of that. And as a result of that, people have been wanting to hear more about Dr. Donaldson. The best I can do right now is give you this soundbite from Dr. Elwood Donaldson on the topic of sociopaths. And of course, it's real, considering all that I told you today about people who up and down the place still news, people who are doing, I suppose, propagandizing news and stuff for people and serving their masters because they think that's what the politicians want. And so sociopaths and those who are in leadership and they have no feeling for the people. They're totally devoid of feeling. It's a very important soundbite by special request.
The sociopaths. But if you're a successful sociopath, nobody can catch you. It's only when you run afoul of the law and they catch you. And even then, they're slippery enough to get up.
That's a good
Narcissism. You know what a narcissistic person, so suddenly the most overused word in the language simply doesn't do these guys justice. On a hunch, I decided to look up the word sociopath, which it turns out is defined much differently from psychopath. And here are some of the most common characteristics, and this is how we can identify our own. Now, here's the biggest flaw which allows them to escape detection. Number one, conventional appearance. Can't tell anything from their outward appearance.
They look just like us.
Just like that. Glib, superficially charming, often highly verbal. Promiscuous sexual behavior. Manipulative and cunning. High sense of entitlement. This is mine, I ain't got it.
Yeah.
Every organization, I gotta beat it wrong. High sense of entitlement. Lack a sense of moral responsibility or moral conscience.
Wow.
It isn't that they're just not responsible, they don't have it.
They just don't have it.
They just don't have it.
Sociopaths.
Yeah. Shallow emotions. Lack of empathy. I don't feel you remember say I don't feel you, but they don't feel you.
For real.
For real. They can't.
They don't feel it.
Lying without remorse, shame, or guilt.
Lord have mercy. I mean, so succinctly. Understand what the man has said. Sociopath. Do you know anybody who fits that description? Do you know anybody who fits that description? Do you know several individuals who fit that description? I shall leave it there for the time. But it is a very, very interesting bit of work. That's a work in progress to continuously talk about the sociopath that is closely associated with the psychopath and see if you can bell the cat. You know that? Shallow emotions, lack of empathy, can't feel them for people, lying without reason, lack of moral conscience, sense of entitlement, high on themselves, egotistical to the very last drop. Sociopath. Write it down. That's your word for the day on this Friday. Let's run to the telephone lines and talk with Leslie Miller. They tell me he's on line 1, and maybe he's on assignment and has gotten all done. Potcake. Man, how you doing? You and your desk sound like you sitting down with your leg crossed and you sitting back at me on speakerphone. What's that?
I got one. A letter I got to bring to you I just received today from this law firm. What is his name? Harry B. Sachs.
Oh, Harry B. Sachs.
Company.
Yeah.
Concerning what took place in Parliament, I got to bring you a copy of this.
Okay.
About 15, 20 minutes, then I can discuss that thing with you that you sent me on assignment for this morning.
So you coming by me?
About 15 minutes.
All right. I wait for you.
All right.
Bring that letter. That letter is to talk about what y'all discussed in the House of Assembly.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. I'm waiting for that. All right. Okay. So Potcake's on his way. Dun 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 dun. Don't go nowhere. We may have to go over time. I'm gonna get Potcake. And I can call him that. That's no disrespect. That's love and admiration for a real man. That's all that is. Okay? So I don't want nobody come, you called him podcast, you didn't call him to write on it. Anyway, so start that right on the thing, because that makes spark some other people to give me a call today. If that's the same them on the line right now. Hi, Copy, how you doing? I feel a little mischievous today. Hi, Copy, how are you?
Hello,
Yes.
good afternoon, Mr. McKinney.
Oh, Mrs. Bullet, how you doing?
I'm fine, and yourself, sir?
I'm good, safe. I got some good news for you. I'll tell you that. I'll call you later.
Hello, yes, sir.
I got some news for you.
You know, in the Bible, where God said, let your yes be yes and your no be no. He said anything other than yes or no, it's of the wicked one.
Yes.
And God also said, do not fear, for I am with you.
Absolutely.
Do not look around, for I am your Elohim.
That's right.
I shall strengthen you. I shall also help you. I shall also uphold you with the right hand of my righteousness. And if God say these things, don't matter any of Satan aims to try to say anything about the media houses, the people, you just gotta trust God. This is just something you didn't come about with to think they could fear God, people.
Yeah.
But God already said, let not your heart be troubled.
Right.
Neither let it be afraid of what anyone might say. You see, there are evil in the world. Satan, when God kick him out of heaven, his imps come with him. And his ancestors are still on earth. All God's people, all people who fear God and believe God's word, just stand and be strong and do whatever you all have to do for God. You see, many of us, we stand and we talk, but we mean it.
That's right. I
A
understand.
bunch of people, a bunch of us behemoths, we only get on these shows to talk, but we don't mean the media house or ourselves any good. You know what I mean, sir?
Yes.
And you know, God said, evil has gone out throughout the world, and God said there's a whirlwind going from one corner of the earth to the next. God can deal with people. You all just do what you have to do. Let not your heart be troubled, Mr. McKinney, sir. Just trust God, okay?
Amen, ma'am.
Thanks for
Amen.
listening to me, sir.
I thank you very much for the encouragement. All the best now. All right. Yeah, that's Miss Bullet. She's a warrior. When I feel down and out and I feel like I'm praying and I'm there and I'm I say sweating it out, praying. This is true. No jive. Sometimes I turn things over to my prayer warriors. And a lot of times when I turn things over to my prayer warriors, I just see my enemies disappear. And of course, people like me are always confronted by the ones who are from the evil place. And I was telling you that there's a young man who is a homosexual. There's no question about it. And I mean that with kindness. That's his way. He calls everybody else homophobic, and he doesn't want anybody to talk about homosexuals, and he accuses that I talk bad about them when I love the homosexual, and there's no problems with me with them because they're God's children. I acknowledge that. But this particular fellow, he may be losing his mind, and he continuously texts all night long, all day. I don't answer his texts, but he just texts and texts and texts until his phone probably breaks apart. Could you imagine getting 35 texts in less than 2 minutes? I mean, this angry text. And I said to myself, I see what the professor was saying when he said about these gynodermophiles. They are so angry. If they get a knife and you are there, you could get stabbed 1 billion times because the anger, you can feel the anger in the text. And I'm wondering, what the hell is this all about? But this happens, and I'm telling you it publicly, because when I see people going to a level like that, I know that the devil is busy. And I told my family, and the devil is busy. And so we've got to be careful. And those of you who do foolishness like that, you shouldn't do that because God ain't pleased with that. But I was about to say that when I get stuff like that, you know what I do? I turn it over to my prayer warriors. And they pray for them. And so this young man by the name of Greg texts and carries on bad. He does never participate in the show, just texting crazy stuff, attacking the Bostwicks, attacking anybody he could talk. Anybody he could attack, he attack them because they've been on my show. Just texting garbage after garbage after garbage, vile stuff. And he appears to be a brilliant fella who, in fact, seems to be very, very, very schooled. But there's this bitterness, and I say, Lord, I pray. I'm telling you public for a reason. Pray about it. But I'm going to now turn that over to my prayer warriors. Prayer warriors, are you there? intercept and intercede on this young man's behalf, Greg. He needs love and he needs help so that he can not be so bitter and angry and full of hate. If he wants to be an homosexual, that's his lifestyle. He has to go to God for that. But the heterosexuals are not evil because they're heterosexuals. They're not homophobic. And that's a crazy thing. But I felt compelled to tell you that today, for what it's worth. All right? The prayer warriors will know how to deal with that. Hard copy, how are you?
Hey, Steve, how you doing?
Peace and love, all is well.
You know, there's at least 14.2% of heterosexual males left in the Bahamas with you, I'm sure. You know, I had the good...
That's high. You saw us that many heterosexuals in the Bahamas?
Well,
because a lot of our people in this country are on the down low. I hope you know that. A lot of these people in this country are on the down low, and that's why the country is in the mess that it's in, because we got a lot of dishonesty straight across the board.
Well, I was trying to be optimistic, and you know, I had the good pleasure of interviewing the good Dr. Donaldson on a talk show that I hosted a few years ago, when he brought all of his scientific books with him to show and explain to me how the homosexual lifestyle is not anything more than a disease.
Yes.
It's learned behavior. There's something called, and write this down, natural order. Now, when you use that word, they scurry like cockroaches when you turn on the light in the kitchen. Natural order. What does it mean, Steve? It means you don't see two female dogs together. You don't see two male giraffes together. Natural order. And that scares them. Now, the gynogomorphophile, love that word. It's not often you get to use it in a sentence. What does it mean? It's like the word gargantuan. Gynogomorphophile means men that when they're in the company of biggity bullies, act like little women and get under the skirt. So, I was excited that he taught me that. But let's move on to today's subject, the pot cake, the Honorable Mr. Miller. I think there's at least a half or three-quarters of some other man in that House of Assembly that's as honorable as him. We have 1 3/4 of a man that are honorable. I know he's one, trying to pin that 3/4 of a man on any of them other set. You know, the people at BEC stop me, and they say they're ready to have him come back. Do you understand what's about to happen at BEC, Steve?
Yeah.
Half of them people, chop chop.
Yes.
And how can Steve?
Well, listen. Someone already texted me just to put this on there. Someone already texted me and told me that I need to talk with Mr. Maynard because he's got the goods, but he's very quiet. And they're suggesting, why is he so quiet?
Please, when the pot cake comes, ask him, in his opinion, how many people he thinks the foreigners will chop. Now, here's the thing, Steve. You understand our government better than I. When maybe you and John get together next week, Bosswood, how can our government, our parliament, rule that solar is okay for Bahamian licensed electricians to have a job? And I say they should be in 100% possession of any solar done around here. That's one thing we don't need a foreigner to do. How can Power Secure come to our country and overturn our Honorable Prime Minister's decision to make solar legal? And he has his house line off with solar, and I commend him for that. He made it duty-free as well. I give credit where it's due. And they come here and say, disconnect, cease and desist your solar from last November, and nothing has happened. So when the pot cake comes, ask him how many jobs he thinks may be made redundant. And Steve, please do a show for us. Write this down. Do a show on Grand Bahama. Invite many people, lawyers, I don't care if it's Mr. Smith, invite the chairman of that party from Freeport, C. Alan Johnson, and explain to us Bahamian people how we can go to Freeport and take full advantage of that Hawksbill Creek agreement. 100 Bahamians, businesses are there now. And tell us how to get out of this inner city of New Providence, okay?
I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. All right. 325-0235 or 6. It's Friday. You let your head down. You're getting ready for the Junkanoo Carnival, right? Grand Bahama's getting ready for the big Junkanoo Carnival. The commercials are now on the air. And I spoke with a number of individuals in Grand Bahama yesterday that you'll hear on a show 12 noon tomorrow on a tourism show about all their festivities and stuff that they're getting ready for. Well, Grand Bahama has a different focus on the Junkanoo Carnival than those in New Providence. The Grand Bahama focus is that it brings some kind of economic relief to them, and it's really needed because they need a boost in the arm for real. And so it's working out in their favor that they're doing a number of things, including an air show and all that down at Tino Beach on the 15th and 16th of April. So this is the month for Junkanoo Carnival in Grand Bahama, and they are all high on it. And so I say, hey, go for gold, do your best, have a good time. They have a number of Bahamians who are going to be participating in it. And so, you know, I haven't heard much about the Junkanoo Carnival locally, except to say that a little birdie told me today, and this little birdie is an international bird, he's a big time star, told Bahamian, told me that they've come back with another lineup of all the foreign musicians again, Dextra or whatever they name, I think it's Dextra. Destra, you know, something like that, Destra. I'm not familiar because it's not my kind of music, to be honest with you, but that's no excuse to not get it right. So it's Destra, and that's Destra. Is that a woman? Sounds like a woman. Okay, that lines up. That Destra is going to line up the whole thing with all the other foreign acts and stuff. But it is very, very sad, and I say this publicly, and I make no apologies for it. And if who get mad, they get mad. That's their business. But it is very sad that the people who are running Carnival again have not been accountable to the Bahamian people, have not done their jobs properly, and I'm tired of talking about it. So I've ignored it, to be honest with you. You know, it is never our intention to stop any show. It's always our intention to help to improve the product. The idea is not a bad idea, you know. The concept is a bad concept. To have something big in the Bahamas is a wonderful thing. And if we promote our Junkanoo and our other cultures and our other music, that's fine. I'd go that 1,000,000%. But no one wants to hear that. They want to hear, they're stubborn. They want to do their own thing. And that's the kind of thing that we have in the Bahamas, where people don't take constructive criticism. They don't take it. And like the Miss Bullet said just now, people only want to talk. We ain't interested in that. We don't follow up nothing. There are a lot of people who are disappointed that we didn't follow up anything with that beach access. We just don't follow up. We just want to row and feel good for the moment, you know, and they know that. The powers that be know that. So here we are now with the Junkanoo Carnival. It's upon us. We wish them every success in Grand Bahama for one reason. I'll be honest with you. For one reason, I wish them every success, because my brothers and sisters in Grand Bahama, my people, they need that to be successful. Okay? The economy need to be better in Grand Bahama. They need that to be successful. And I'm hoping that if only the vendors and the local Bahamians who are participating could make some money, hey, way to go. Because that's, you know, that's really what it's all about. That's what it should be all about. And so it's deplorable, despicable that we as a people have not gotten serious to cause individuals to be called into account for their poor handling. You see? Poor handling of things, no accountability. And we accept that and we go for the ride. And in my mind, and you know, I don't want to sound like no judge, but in my mind, shame on those individuals who could give 2 cents, all they want to do is party. That's another thing that's wrong with the Bahamas. We got too many freeloaders who just want party. And you may argue, say, Steve, there ain't no Bahamian. I don't know if I buy that anymore. I don't know if I buy that. You know, I've got to do a show on it next week, God willing. Do you see the amount of number houses that are popping up? New properties. The only good thing about that in my mind is that somebody doing construction. I hope they don't own the construction company too, building them. But when I was flipping through the cable channel the other night, looking for something to watch, I came upon the channel 224 or 222 or something. I can't remember. But I saw a numbers channel. I say, we get a numbers channel on cable? I didn't know. Now, I don't know how long it's been there, but this was like early this week or over the weekend I saw it. I say, my goodness, we got a numbers channel. It's Island Luck or one of them, the green and yellow one. And they had all the numbers displayed, and it's a live channel. It's not an off-screen channel, friends. It's a live cable channel that they have the numbers. And I say, boy, these numbers guys are huge. Now, they're legal, so I suppose they can do this. But what about the morals of the country? We are really funky. That's the word I use because I want, say no bad word. But we funky. This country is funky. And it's funky because we don't have enough of the Patrick Pauls, the Reverend Patrick Pauls. We don't have enough Timmy Stewarts. We don't have enough of them. We don't have enough Lyle Baffles. We don't have enough of the Glenn Rose. We don't have enough of them people, the clergy. We need more of them. We need to kind of like go to NIGAT. Oh, there's a terrible thing to say. But I was thinking about the stem cells, see if we can, what you talking, clone? see if we can clone some of these fellows. We need more of that. There's no one standing in the gap on the moral end of these things. And as a result of it, anything goes. Believe me when I tell you that. And so for a fellow like me from the old school and, limited education and all that, I can't put my head around that. I can't put my head around that type of progress. I know that kind of progress is destructive. I gotta go to break. I gotta go to break. That kind of progress is destructive. That can't help us. Not eventually. Not futuristically. Now it's on the screen and it's right in your face. And then I saw right in my neighborhood, there's a big billboard up now right by St. Joseph Church. That nice vacant property. I always admired that property, but apparently the Numbers boys got that. They're building a huge building there now. Or getting ready to build a huge building there. And they got the billboards up, and you can know what you're playing on the hour because it's live. I mean, hey, that's what's happening in the Bahamas. Whatever happened to industry, it's gotten away from us. There's nothing we can do, I suppose, really anymore about this, except that only the good Lord will have to now deal with us and help us to walk through this malaise of funky stuff. So maybe the new way now is for old fellas like me to get out of the way and let the young people do what they got to do and, bring total destruction to the country. Why am I saying that? I'm against gambling. That's why I'm saying it. I don't believe you should gamble. But don't mind me. That's just me. That's my code. I think that you should save and build and penny pinch and take care of your family and take care of yourself and take care of your future. You go get old, You're going to get old. Don't be one of them people walking around a cane, grumbling to yourself, come to Lampool and say, I should play 1-on-1. That's what on this Lampool today. I should play 1-1-1, but boy, I ain't collect my pension yet. I got my pension, and my pension ain't much because I just gamble a little bit, That's the story. Don't be the woman who spends every day, don't have no food to feed them children. Don't be that. It's my job to tell you that. If you don't take it, that's your business. But I'm telling you, who left me in charge? Nobody. It's just a responsible thing to do. Since we're in a position these days where our authority has no responsibility, I've got to at least give you some of what I think you should be dealing with because you're lacking guidance in some areas. A lot of people just don't know. No one has told them. A gentleman called me yesterday on a show saying that he thanked God that he heard Christy some years ago talk about a second chance and that he was able to get off drugs because, somebody gave him a chance. It was a very powerful thing. I thought about that all night. I prayed for the gentleman as well. I thought about that all night. I hope that impacted you as it impacted me. Because that's what it's really all about, helping each other, helping your brother, man. But all we're doing these days is doing the wild thing. And you can't be pleased with that. I don't care how bad you are. The baddest bad boy knows good sense. You hear what I tell you? The baddest bad boy, and many of you want to write off these people, the baddest bad boy, he knows right and wrong. He knows good sense. I don't care how bad he is. Let mother talk to him. That's why women are so very important in this country. But are the women doing their jobs, talking to these bad boys? It's another topic for another day. Let me work the break. When we come back from the break, I've given Leslie Miller enough time to get from the back of Howard Road over here to the city. He's coming from City 2000 to City Number 1. And we gotta talk with him in just a minute. You can call me. I see everybody waiting on Leslie to come. They got me talking all day. Listen, call me, 325-0235 people in New York have already texted me that they're waiting on the pot cake. People in Atlanta have already texted me that they're waiting on the pot cake. They want to know what the pot cake got with this letter. So, yeah, I'm waiting on the pot cake too from Harry B. Sands. I'm interested in that. What could it be? We're going to discuss it live on air. You see, see me? Man, I ain't ready to talk anything on the air. That's how serious this is. The country is up for grabs, and we got to make sure we stay on the game. We're back in a minute. Gather yourselves, friends. 325-0235 This is Hard Copy. On the way to 7 o'clock, 6:39. We're still waiting for Mr. Miller. He's not arrived just yet. He perhaps will be put up in a short time from now. But of course, here we are talking about all the issues as we let it all hang out there on this Friday. You can give us a call and showcase your concerns today, as many people are now texting me, showcasing their concern. It's the only important thing and the only real thing to do. You mustn't be afraid of it. And I've gotten a number of text messages and messages on WhatsApp. Somebody is texting me about the whole idea of this tourism thing that we've been talking about. Person says, "Hi, Steve. I hear your comments on Cuba, but God has blessed us with a beautiful country and has given us everything we need to allow every Bahamian to have a good quality of life. Shame on us if we allow our resources to be abused by visionless leaders who revel in the grandiosity of their elected positions and whose focus is on their short-term personal gains. We are a talented people who have accomplished much with God's grace. We have so much potential, but we've got to clean up our tourism product. Nassau is covered with thousands of derelict vehicles and trash. We need to replace our weak leaders with people who are honest, live with integrity, and respect the wishes of the people, i.e. gambling, and value our Bahamian culture and quality of life. By the way, does anyone still work at environmental health?" What a question. And so relevant, so timely, and so well put from that person who sent me that just now. And the thing is, does anybody still work down environmental health? The place is filthy. We've brought it to the forefront. Mrs. Hannah has been moving around with the camera, taking pictures and sending them in to all and sundry who would listen. Mrs. Hannah is a senior citizen who just made this her priority because she's not impressed with how dirty the place is. And she's been doing a fantastic job. But is anybody listening? Is there anybody home? Ken Dorset is the man responsible, and he may be trying his best, but maybe he doesn't have the help from the Attorney General's office, who is yet to create the environmental courts. Could you imagine we have no environmental court in the beautiful Bahamas, in the tourism destination, where if there are infractions, we can at least have somebody to go pick that fella up, tell him stop dumping stuff, and he don't stop, throw him in jail, give him a hell of a fine, and he'll find his head. But we don't even have an environmental court. So all this garbage, this PR that we've been doing all these years about spraying those red signs on the car saying remove within 21 days, it's been all just propaganda. It's been all just spin. It's not real. They have no teeth. They can't do anybody nothing who got these derelict vehicles. Park all over Nassau. Every corner you go through, 55 in one yard. Come on, man. We're not serious. If we were serious, those things would not be happening. So that's what we're dealing with. What else do I have here? Hi, Steve. If you don't know, Island Luck has their own channel. Yes, 224. That's what one of my researchers are telling me. Thank you very much there. They had it from last week. It tells me you are not moving fast to keep up with this economy. I understood when I saw the keep up the good work. She's just messing with me. I was the one who talked about this channel 224. Didn't I tell you? You didn't hear it no place else, right? Well, I'm the one who told you about it. And I was surprised that they had it. It was on from last week. This person was telling me. I didn't realize that it was on from. Oh, what happened to my phone here? It was on from last week. So the channel is 224. And boy, anyway, what else do we have here as we wait for Leslie Miller? Leslie Miller is talking loud but saying nothing, says this person. That text just came to me. Say Leslie Miller is talking loud but saying nothing. Seems like one of his old nemesis from BEC who was saying that. They try to make the pot cake mad when he come in. This one also says, what is it? People are complaining about Junkanoo Carnival and to remove those persons who have been running things. Yeah. So somebody says the Minister of Tourism has proven not to be credible on a number of things. Why would any sensible individual believe a word from him, man? this person is asking that question. Well, I disagree. He has his share of enemies, I suppose, and detractors, but I cannot say that he's not been credible on anything. That would not be a true statement. And he may have ticked off a lot of people because of his stylings, but I respect him for who he is, and he's been upfront with me. He has been upfront with me, I can tell you that. And he better be upfront with me because he knows how I go. Be upfront with me. We talk sense. Okay, the Honorable Leslie Miller is reporting for duty. He's just walked into the studio. He's handed me a letter. If you're watching by streaming, you'll see him. Go to our Facebook page, click on the link that gives you streaming, and you'll see that Miller's here. Oh. And this is sent to the Honorable Leslie Miller. You want me to read this? Can I look at this? So they've sent Mr. Leslie Miller something from Harry B. Sands, Lebowski and Company. And we act on the Coalition to Protect Clifton Bay, Zach Bacon and Frederick Smith, QC. We write in relation to the alarming data breach, which our clients have recently been victims of, which has seen their personal emails and private financial data publicized to the world. The leaking of their personal data entails a gross infringement of their right to privacy, a breach of contractual obligations and violations of their rights under the Data Protection Act and/or the Computer Misuse Act. Is that right?
I guess.
As you are no doubt aware, our clients obtained an emergency injunction on the 18th of March, 2016 against the person or persons unknown who has or have appropriated, obtained, and or offered or intend to offer for sale and or publication documents belonging to or relating to Zach Bacon, Frederick Smith, QC, and or the environmental organization known as Save the Bays and or its directors, persons unknown. Naturally, we are taking steps to identify persons unknown and seek your assistance in this regard. We do so whilst reserving our clients' rights in full in relation to your role in the dissemination of their personal information. It is clear from your comments during the mid-year budget debate on the 17th of March, 2016, which were reported in the Nassau Guardian, among other places, that you have seen a confidential document belonging to our clients. You stated, and they quote, "I saw a document yesterday, Monday, that says that the Haymans who are involved in this charade, one of them takes home a salary of $90,000 per year. Another one who is an entertainer is taking home $150,000 a year. Another one who is associated with the program is taking home another $100,000 a year. Another one who claims to be a pastor is taking home another $150,000. And the big fish, the fellow who is behind it all, takes home an average of $250,000 a year, plus expenses," end of quote. And it goes on to say, a very small number of people would have legitimately had access to this document and would have had obligations of confidentiality. It therefore follows that someone has disclosed our client's confidential information when he or she was unauthorized to do so. In order to assist our clients to identify persons unknown, we require, without prejudice to their legal rights, that you immediately provide us with: 1, details of all documents or other evidence you have seen to support your disclosure of the confidential information; 2, details of the circumstances pursuant to which this information came into your possession; 3, copies of any documents in your possession containing the confidential information; and 4, your undertaking not to publish or otherwise disclose further confidential information relating to our clients to any third party other than in proper exercise of parliamentary privilege. We hope as a member of parliament that you will assist with this with the administration of justice by acceding to our client's reasonable request. In the meantime, we reiterate our clients reserve all their rights, including the right to draw this correspondence to the attention of the Speaker of the House of Assembly or a court of law as necessary. Yours faithfully, Haran Bethel, Harry B. Sands, Lebowski and Company. And this is the letter that was sent today. This is no April Fool's letter. The
Oh, I
first
got
day of
that
April.
letter around about 5:30 this afternoon.
So did this letter shake you up? When is this letter?
No, I just saw it, I read it, I didn't know what it's all about. You know, it pertains to what we said in Parliament,
Yeah.
and it pertains to all the controversy in the newspapers with a group that some of the government believers had an intent of destabilizing, overthrowing the government, to enable them to rid themselves of someone that they wish not to be in their company, or wish not to be associated with them in that place called Lightfoot Key.
Yeah, well, they're asking you to do some things here, and 4 items here. The 4th item is quite interesting. It says your undertaking, they're requesting that you provide them with your undertaking, your considered agreement, I suppose, that you not publish or otherwise disclose further confidential information relating to their clients to any third party other than, this is the key, other than in proper exercise of parliamentary privilege. In other words, in the House of Assembly where you did that under parliamentary privilege, that is fine. But if you were to go now and give that to hard copy or the Tribune or something else, and
Well, I didn't disclose any confidential information in Parliament because I didn't have any.
Yeah.
Something was placed on my desk. I saw it, I looked over it, I read it.
Yeah.
And I left it on my desk.
so that's what that is saying. They're basically saying that you apparently, by your own admission in the Parliament on the 17th of March, said that you saw a document. They quoted that they said, you said, I saw a document on Monday that says the Bahamians who are involved in this charade, one of them takes home a salary of $90,000 a year. Another one who is an entertainer is taking home $150,000 a year.
Yep.
Another one who is associated with the program is taking home another $100,000 a year, and so forth and so on. That's what they're quoting. So this seemed to be a letter of warning that they're watching you, and they want to make sure that you don't speak anything else, and that they want you to give them your undivided
Well, I want you to
attention.
see the document to see
Yeah, I see.
where they're coming from.
Yeah.
Okay.
I see. It's from Harry
With
B.
regard to
Sykes.
what has taken place, and I
Yeah.
just got this just now.
Yeah.
So I figured I'd share this with you on the Damon people.
Well, I
Good
appreciate
afternoon,
it.
Damon.
Yeah, well, the pot cake is here, and of course, there's some who have gone, the Save the Base people, obviously the persons who were named as those where the information was apparently breached of their private privileges, and their privacy has been noted in that letter, and they're saying, please stop. That's basically reading it. It's saying that cease and desist without saying cease and desist. From what I glean, now I'm no lawyer, but a quick glance at it. It's the first time I'm seeing it.
Please, I'm saying
And
too.
so I
That's
didn't get to read over it. I just read it out loud as I saw it on the paper. And my immediate understanding is that they're saying cease and desist, leave that alone. They're going to target you and perhaps name you in some future lawsuit. But they can't if you said in the House of Assembly. It's under privilege, so there's nothing that they can do. But that's why item number 4, very quickly, if I could just extrapolate from that and give you my synopsis. Item number 4 is basically saying right off the top that don't take it no place else other than the Parliament, because you're privileged in the Parliament.
You mean the information I saw
The information you saw
that Monday.
Yeah, if you take that any place else outside of the Parliament, the documentation for publication.
Well, I don't have no possession of the document. It was placed on my desk. I left it there. And whoever put it there probably got it back.
Yeah.
It wasn't my business. I could care less. My only concern was that we went through that scenario before, as I indicated when I spoke. In fact, I was the person that spoke in Parliament on it.
Yeah.
And I indicated that this was the second time I've seen something like this taking place before. It happened with Sir Lyndon, God bless him, and his government, if you remember vividly, back in the 80s, when there was Nation for Sale.
Yeah.
And the Miami Herald came in on that Friday. I spoke on your show.
Yes,
And the
that's
guys
correct.
got us in lungs and put on the desk.
I was
And
around.
I
was
simply
in
gave a
journalism.
full overview that we've been down this road before.
Yeah.
Okay, except that time you had I guess more class people, more intelligent people, and who knew what they were doing.
Okay.
And voices the rookies that they have working for them.
Yeah.
And the 2 fellas I believe are in custody now, I understand.
Yeah.
Who was a part of
The
this
two
charade.
individuals, yeah.
Yeah.
I know that yesterday it was reported in the newspaper that they were in custody or that they had been arrested. I understand that they turned themselves in and perhaps cooperating, but there's been no charges.
Not that
against
I'm
those.
aware of.
But this is all quite interesting because first and foremost, I want to say that putting documents on the table, not that you did that, But Jerome Fitzgerald, your colleague, certainly mentioned some things that sent kind of alarm signals and sent the bells off in the financial services sector. And it also alarmed a lot of people because we know how vicious politics can be in this time. And this is the civic season coming up.
Yes.
And so when you talk about referring to private documents or, people's private emails, that's a very serious thing. And
yeah, but with the greatest respect, Mr. Fitzgerald made it clear that, and it is clear that there was no hacking of anyone's computer.
He said so.
It was given to him or was put in the garbage can, as he said, political garbage can. For him to peruse it.
His political garbage can. I don't know if Bradley Roberts referred to it, and when Jerome said it, when Mr. Fitzgerald, the member for Marathon, said it, I didn't quite understand him. In all my years of it, I heard about this political garbage can. I mean, I had never heard about political garbage can in the email dispensation of things. But when Bradley Roberts spoke to it, because Bradley Roberts is very savvy with this kind of
thing. You remember that?
He's very good. Yes. Bradley Roberts on computer all day and all night. I think he eats and drinks the whole thing. He's very good for a fellow who's in his category. He's very good. He's very, very proficient. But the point is this, that when he mentioned it in the press release that he sent out, that I got, it seemed as if he was referring to Jerome's, he was calling press people hypocrites, knowing that things always come to your political garbage can, meaning perhaps spam or meaning a junk mail, as we call it, and sometimes it filters into your main email.
Or someone could have given it to you in your hands, or somebody put it in your office.
We don't quite know what Jerome Fitzgerald is making, but Bradley Roberts kind of cleared up a little bit for some of us by saying how one can obtain junk, garbage information that would be garbage to one.
But what is interesting, though, no matter what is said, and how you spin it, you don't change the facts. And what he stated obviously was facts. And a step on a lot of toes, and everybody's now going nuts about it.
Well, that may be so. But you see, the thing about it is that it is just setting a precedence, Mr. Miller. Under Parliament, you've got privileges and you can do things, and we can't do a thing about it if you say something under privilege of the House. That's the rules. And that's even Harry B. Sands never realized that. But they wanted to make sure that they put on the record that they sent you a letter. See, that is just as a matter of record.
No, fine, I understand. So I appreciate it.
It's nothing to worry about.
I'm not worried about it at all.
Shouldn't worry about that. The point is, it seems to me a matter of record that they're letting you know, look here, Chief, this the deal, in case this come up again.
Leave it there.
Don't fool around, don't fool yourself.
And that is probably the same reason why they went to the Supreme Court first, on the 12th of March or whatever date they went to, all right? Before anything took place. That's fine.
Before we continue, I've got a colleague on the line who's a lawyer, so maybe he'll tell you that, Steve, you're dead wrong. This is what that means. Is that John Boswick?
Steve, how you doing, my friend?
Thanks for your call. I'm listening. My producer just told me that you were on the line.
Yes. And believe it or not, I had called some time ago when you had another caller before the Honorable Mr. Miller had come into the show just now. Steve, I didn't want to comment on what's going on with this disclosure of private emails. I think it is a very, 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 very poor precedent. No matter which way you cut it, and as Mr. Miller saying, no matter how you spin it, and the spinners are spinning, it still comes down to somebody's private correspondence being aired in a very public forum and on a national TV picked up by international news. So no matter how you spin it, that's what happened. And I'm sure Mr. Miller wouldn't want anybody peeping through his bedroom window and telling everybody what they see going on in there, even if it was something quite natural and quite normal. That's not anybody's business, So that's another matter. Steve, what I had called for really to say was that there was a caller who called a little while ago that said that I was their attorney, and that's correct. But they incorrectly said that I was happy with the new easement or the situation with the beach access.
To be honest, I couldn't understand what the young man was saying. It was all confuddled, and I asked his phone ran out, and I asked him to call me back, but I left it alone because I didn't understand what he was talking about, to be honest with you.
Yes, I just didn't want anybody to be given the wrong impression, or definitely didn't want anybody to speak on my behalf. I'm quite capable of that. And my position has remained and remains that is a public right of way, that there is no alternative, there is no suggested other location, and that the public right of way needs to be declared so by the Supreme Court of the Bahamas. And if persons have failed to secure the necessary injunctions that need to be put into place while such a declaration can be sought, that's what my energies are and where my energies presently remain. So I will not be happy with that situation until that particular right of way that runs between or next to the Rio, and I want to say it very clearly, I will not, John Bostic will not be happy with that situation until that particular right of way is declared so by the Supreme Court of the Bahamas and made effectively a road access to the beach.
Understood.
Okay, so I just wanted to be very clear with that.
I appreciate that. That's on the record. I appreciate it, John.
Thanks a lot, my brother. Y'all take care. Take care, Mr.
Take care, man. All the best.
Great.
Good weekend.
Now, of course, John has brought up something that we were supposed to be talking about as well, because I
Yes,
spoke
you
to
did,
you
you
this
did.
morning and asked you to go and do a check
Yes,
for me
yes.
since
I made some
information
inquiries
was hard
on
to
it.
come by sometimes.
And I was told that the fact that there are discussions going on now between the party and the relevant government agencies. And they're trying to clear the matter up to have a positive outcome and to have that thing sorted properly. And as John indicated, perhaps to that same end, that he's I'm looking forward to.
Now, when you say to have it sorted to that same end, it sounds all vague, but nonetheless, I know that you're doing the best you can under all the circumstances. Let me ask you this question directly then, Mr. Miller. Can you say definitively the position of the government of the Bahamas, as you may know it to be, with regards to their pursuit of that particular access point, that if in fact they're pursuing that to remain as is a right of way, or if they've given up the ghost on it and is looking for an alternative site?
I think from what I understand, the government is pursuing that from what it was. The Prime Minister had indicated weeks ago, as you are aware, that he had met with the persons involved. Minister Obi Wilson had met with them, and they thought they had an understanding cleared up for the vendors to go and have access to that portion of the beach.
Okay.
I think they are pursuing that same stance again.
Yeah. So, John.
As far as I'm aware.
Okay, so it seems a gentleman called me. He said he was the PR man for something.
Yes,
it sounded as if he was saying that they still have access to the area.
He said he
that
met with
would close yesterday.
Minister Wilson.
Yeah, but
and they had assurance that they were trying to rectify the situation.
Okay, so that's
once and for all.
But you know, yesterday was the last day. There's been no extension, and I was.
But they still have access to the beaches of today.
Well, that's what I was trying to determine. If our people still can go to the beach from that access point.
I believe they were there this morning.
I know that yesterday was the last day, and the owners of the property had said categorically that there's no more extension, and the other place that you can access the beach was from 1.5 miles east of the Ocean Club through that narrow area there. Yeah, that's behind the Ocean Club. That's where the sewage plant is.
Right.
There's a narrow road.
There's a narrow road there.
Right. So and I did some checking. It is. Yes. I did some checking, and I found that there's a security officer there, and over time he has been there. He has been checking people, and his job is to search everyone who's going to go through there.
Right.
You have to be searched to make sure you're not carrying any contrabands, I suppose. But if the taxi drivers are going to have to take people there, that's going to be quite a scene for them to be going to the beach to be searched to go that way. I'm only saying.
But taxi drivers don't take anyone where they're presently located, do they?
Yeah, but taxi drivers would take people. Oh yeah. When I say, I mean tow operators, taxi drivers.
Tow operators.
I meant tow operators. Yeah, I meant the tow operators.
They would take the tourists there to get access to the beaches.
Yeah, from right where the access is now. That's a big business.
But what prevents the tourist now that stays on Paradise Island from gaining access to all of the beaches? Because they have access.
They have access, but these are tourists who come from the cruise ship, Mr. Miller.
Oh, I see. Okay,
these are other
okay.
Who want to visit Paradise Island.
Okay.
That's a big
well,
thing.
perhaps one of the situation that we may not have thought of was the fact that maybe Paradise Island is looking to get more revenue by forcing those tourists on the ships.
We talked about that.
To use their facilities.
I talked about
by paying the $125, I think, that Bahamians pay to go with it.
I talked about it.
So maybe that's what they look. That's why they're probably trying to do what they're doing that.
We said that this whole move with the jet skis and the vendors
it's about
can only be about the people who own the hotel wanting to have that business for themselves.
Yes.
And we've got to have a real conversation about that.
Yes.
But now is not the time. We're just trying to figure out whether or not that the access remains. From what I know, my information that we checked, that the access is no longer available to Bahamians going there. Now, that is not to say that they erected a gate or a fence or anything. That is to say, now if I was to go by what that fellow was stumbling over saying, he said that somebody let them through the gate today, which means that the gate is back up and the gate is normally locked. And he said someone opened the gate and let them through today, some of the beach vendors.
But
I don't know, I haven't been over there physically to see that.
This company that you always mention, this Access,
Access Investments.
Yeah.
Oh,
what,
sorry.
What are their
Access
plans for this?
Industries.
What are their plans for this? What's the size of this property that they own?
Well, I don't know. It's huge, and I know this. That
Oh,
they plan to build a facility
condos or
there of
something,
$100 million investment.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, that's why the Prime Minister's been looking at it and not really being so harsh with the whole thing, because he's dealing with investors on one hand.
Yes, okay.
And he's dealing with his Bahamian people on the other hand.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's an easy thing to figure out, but you've got to have the kind of courage to deal with it.
What about that portion of the land that's on the western side of the one and only? You know, before you get to the hotel, you don't have to go on the main road. Yeah, stay on that road. Yeah, there's no access. No, I'm talking about there is a fence, but I'm talking about along the fence.
Apparently, all that is the people's property.
But it's people's property. Yeah, but that
apparently all that's the people's property.
No, Steve, all of that cannot be the people's property. You have a little small hotel there in the middle of that same strip.
Just before you get to one and only.
So all of that property is theirs then. Oh, that's a massive piece of property.
That's what I'm saying. It's a
massive
big thing with their developing, and that's why they're
massive.
But so we don't know for sure what's going to happen. But is there any talk of concern about people on your side? Because I mentioned yesterday that I didn't see anyone, PLPs, ministers, MPs.
Well, when they had the situation on Paradise Island.
You explained to me that you were.
I was not aware of it. In fact, was it here when I got in? One of the taxi drivers at the airport asked me why. I said, "Well, I didn't know nothing about it." I said, "I'm just heading in now." Yeah. I just came in from stateside.
Are you concerned?
I'm concerned. I don't know why
that we seem to be losing ground.
Why would it be? You know, I was telling someone today in the bank this afternoon. Our two most important sectors has been taken away from us almost entirely. 40 years ago, we used to have Bahamian managers in the hotels, many of them. 10 years ago, we used to have real Bahamian bankers that were managers. Today, you have administrative assistants. In this country today, it is very, very difficult for Bahamians to get overdraft, business people to get overdraft. It either got to be okayed by Jamaica, Trinidad, or Canada. We have regress in our two most important sectors to such a degree
I spoke about
that we're almost like peasants. And it bothers me that in all this work that we brag about, Bahama and all these other projects, Paradise Island, all these projects in the Family Islands, you probably have less than 5 managers in all of these hotels that could take you or I to lunch that are Bahamians. Yeah. It is a disgrace what we have allowed to happen, you know. And it bothers me because I wonder now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, when our grandchildren are looking for jobs, what is going to happen? And they've been totally displaced by the foreigners. Yeah. I mean, I realize that the foreigner coming in here and making an investment, but he does not have the right to put in his hotel. The vast majority of foreigners, one hotel out west, for example, I think they have some 26 managers and 3 are Bahamians. Yeah. And the 3 Bahamians are in the menial management positions that they have no say whatsoever. That cannot be right. I ask myself a question. What is the use of being a Bahamian? Yeah. Well, really, what is it? I mean, because we are now, to me, seems to only be here for the purpose of manual labor. You have no say in the decision-making process in the banking sector or in the hotel sector, which is our 2 most important sectors. Where are we going as a country?
Yeah, what's our role?
And when are we going to take a stand and say, listen, you know, enough is enough?
Yeah. Well, this is why, you know, people like your straight talk. A lot of people believe that that you are frustrated, that from the political end, because you know that a lot of things that are happening good. I want to just say this to you, Mr. Miller, that there is obviously a convergence that's happening in the Bahamas as far as the politics is concerned. There's a convergence of bright minds and people who are determined to do things in a different fashion, a different way, to bring in a new dispensation of what the Bahamas ought to be like. I wonder if you are open-minded to that. I know that you're all from the school of thought that I born PLP, I can die PLP. I know that. But I ask you, and for the sake of your grandchildren, for the sake of all those
you have to have a plan. Listen, you have to.
Is there any hope that you can be a part of a convergence of new thoughts?
First, you got to have a plan. The plan got to be in the best interest of the Bahamian people, the vast majority of the Bahamian people. in that plant, you also have to have persons of a certain caliber that can attract people to have faith in them to vote for them.
True.
Not just for the party,
No.
but for the individuals as well.
Absolutely.
And what happens to most of the fringe parties? For example, the DNA in the last election did a spectacular job in getting the amount of votes that they got. They got more, I think, any political party except the FNM when they were first formed, as far as votes. That is not likely to happen this time.
Yeah, but there's a whole new group of people doing it. Mr. Miller, can I tell you something? Let me tell you something. Right now, as we speak,
yes,
there are about at least 11 developing political parties of serious influence. 11. I could be off by 3.
That's a hell of a lot of candidates.
I want to tell you that. I want to shake your world right now. Let me tell you something.
That's a lot of candidates.
Let me tell you what I'm saying.
Yes.
The fact of the matter that there are so many people looking for new entities, and these are sober, serious people. This ain't no little joke thing.
All right.
Now, hold on. That tells me something, that if you have that amount of people trying to get into the area of politics to form something new, something is about to happen. Could you imagine that the best of the lot from all these people converge and come into one entity that's a viable entity with named people, with named people of good public record, with named people of the kind of ilk and strength to change things around? Do you know that that will take shape in this country and could cause a serious shift in all that we see right now?
All I can say right now, and if that is the case, time is of the essence. Well, you have 1 year to go before we go to the polls.
But the point is this: the desperation of the nation is such that anybody who comes up, any grouping that comes together and hold hands as a united force to fight off the perceived evils of the PLP and the FNM in a time and the DNA, in a time when we see a great deterioration in the political fabric. This may be the time. You don't know if Almighty God may have a big hand in putting it all together to make it fly, because people are coming together from different walks of life. I tell you, when I got this information this morning, I was like, you got to be kidding me. Well, how come I didn't know that? Well, you got to be kidding me. How come I didn't know that? That's what I'm saying to the responses of the individuals who are doing it.
Serious group.
I wish I could have called these people.
The problem there, though.
I wish I could have called these people.
The problem there, if you're talking about a splinter group, look how many candidates, if you're talking about all these parties.
No, Leslie, what I'm talking about is people of one mindset.
Yes.
Who know that we need to have dynamic change, a paradigm shift in this country. They may be coming together from the different corners of the Bahamas because in their own sectors, they are saying, let's go. This one is saying, let's go. The next one is saying, let's go. Now, if you were to bundle them together and if they come together as a natural convergence, we will have a big change in this country overnight.
And
you say time is of the essence?
Who is going to be, yes, time is of the essence.
Yeah, of course
you got a year to go.
Of course, time is
Who's going to be the leader? What type of structure you're going to have in the party?
See,
what is the philosophy of the party?
That's just it. That's just it.
That's your first problem, the leader.
No.
Does everybody want to be leader?
No. That ain't wicked now. What is happening is that these people, I tell you, are like mine. These people, the ones I spoke with today from 4 of the different entities, are of the mindset that they want to come together.
I spoke with one set.
And they want to just create a
coalition, they call it.
Yeah, but they just want to create a forum where those who aspire and want to be will put their names into the pool for the positions on a basic constitutional focus of where they want to take this country. They're all agreeing that they have to do the country to different ways.
So when is this going to take place?
I don't know, but I'm saying I don't want to get left, and that's why I'm saying now.
Time is of the essence.
If you are of the same mindset that we need to get some things right. There are too many things wrong. We got to start thinking with an open mind that if it comes in our direction, we got to at least involve ourselves to investigate if this is it.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a serious political grouping that believe that they can make a difference in the lives of the average Bahamian, I would have no hesitation at all with listen to that group and see what they have to say.
All right. Let's leave. The lines have been full for a bit. Let me take these calls. Let's go through these calls. Hold the line, friends. Don't hang up. We're going to come to these calls right now. Hot copy. Hot copy. How are you? Okay. Hot copy. How are you?
Good afternoon, Brother McKinney.
Anton, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Good afternoon, Brother Miller.
Good afternoon, sir.
And good afternoon to the nation. I was just listening to the first part of the conversation with reference to the letter
from Harry B. Sands that Brother Miller received today, right? And two things popped into my head, Brother McKinney and Mr. Miller. And it is a time back, Brother McKinney, I remember when the operational business was spread all over from the highest office in the land, eh? And I don't think that you were of any national security threat to the Bahamas, and I don't think that you would have done anything that was of a threat, a negative threat to the positive development of the Bahamas. Okay? And while I fully and 100% support the protection of all persons, not just Bahamians. Bahamians are not personal emails. Where my support ends for that protection is cowards who would hide behind a so-called, a purported non-profit entity that would have spent up to $20 million, okay? And in an effort to try and dethrone a legally, democratically elected Bahamian government. That is treason of the worst order. And anyone, Brother McKinney, Mr. Miller and the nation, who is involved with such treasonous and cowardice acts against their own people, against their own country, don't deserve no protection, none. And as the data commissioner was touting, okay, the minister and or the minister for national security has every single right to expose any private communication where it is determined that it is not in the best interest, or it is trying to malign the interest of the Bahamas or the Bahamian government, or it is considered a national threat. And so I am very hopeful that the committee that has been convened in Parliament gets to the bottom of this nonsense and expose these rats for who they really are. If this is really the case, that they are seeking to overthrow our democratically elected Bahamian government, they deserve the worst punishment in this country. They don't deserve no protection. Thank you and God bless.
Okay, all right. I hear you, Anton. Hard copy, how are you? Hard copy, how are you? All right. Hard copy, how are you? All right, stay on the line. Hard copy, how are you?
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, Mr. McKinney. How you doing?
Very good, thanks.
Good afternoon, Mr. Miller. How you doing?
Hey, Spark, what do you say, man?
Right here, because I can start it, Chief. Chief, you remember when we talked about emails and everything? I'm not talking about you now, but you remember one time, Chief, you and I were driving in your car, and you asked me what happened to me, and I gave you my story. And then we found out later on that what I was accused of, the people came back and admitted to me that it wasn't me. They found out it was somebody else. I never even figured out, Mr. Miller, that they had used me. And a little small fellow working for Bahamas Telecommunication Company at that time. A little nobody, but only somebody that used to call talk shows. My name actually got to the Prime Minister at that time of the country, and I couldn't understand. Little old me, my name in the Prime Minister's office. And Mr. Miller, he is using documents against me to say that I did a particular thing. I came back and admit that I didn't do it. Mr. Miller, you remember one time ago, I think it was back in the 90s, when there was a particular member, parliamentarian of the PLP party, when they disclosed all his telephone bills in the public papers?
Yes, I remember quite vividly.
You remember when they showed all his calls, personal calls to his children in London when they were going to school and everything?
I remember very vividly.
I'm just drawing the fact that what I found out has happened, Mr. Miller, is happening. Sometimes it's the people right there waiting in the office where you're waiting.
Of course.
All right, got it wrong.
Of course. How are you?
Hard copy, how are you?
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, Mr. McKinney and guest. How are you?
Good evening, good shape, man.
This is Monique Taylor, the president of the Cabbage Beach Business Owners.
Hi there, Monique. How are you? Your PR man had called and he was saying something, but I didn't get it too clearly. What was he saying?
Say that the right of way is not blocked.
The right of way is not blocked. The original right of way.
No, it's not blocked. And attorneys, Mr. Ferguson and Mr. Moji will speak later on it. But seeing it to the PR, I would like to clearly make known that nobody speaks on behalf of myself, Monique Taylor, and the Cabbage Beach Business Owners Association.
Understood.
Called earlier by the name of Rodney St. John or Tiger, or whatever his name may be. He's misrepresenting himself, and he does not speak on behalf of the Cabbage Beach Business Owners Association. Neither do we speak on behalf of the president of the organization.
Understood. All right, I appreciate it. So what is the correct information now?
But like I said to you, later on down.
Oh, Mr. Nutri and those will speak.
Yes, they will better speak to the issue.
I understand. But you saying the access is not deniable right now. I mean,
it's not blocked.
It's not blocked. You can go through now.
But what I would also like to add is that the vendors are not looking to be removed, to be relocated anywhere, and we are looking for that to remain the right of way.
I understand.
Being used for over 20 years.
Well, Monique, I appreciate it.
Okay,
I appreciate you for being responsible and calling to make sure we got that cleared up. I appreciate it. Thank you kindly. All right. So we got indication now from the president that they still have use of the access and that they are lobbying and making sure that remains the same situation. Yes. Well, that's good. Hard copy, how are you? Hard copy, how you doing?
Hello, how are you? I just wanted to about Tom's comment. And I don't know, I want to call him a telephone lobbyist for a third party, right? Seems to be very fair and balanced and impartial of his comment. Because at the end of the day, all of these assertions that are being made against this entity, the type, I'm not get involved with all this. Personally, but what I can just read from the press and the both sides of the story, they trying to make it appear as if the party of the association that he is unconnected to, and they have just fought to favor people.
No, I don't think in principle anybody will agree with him on that, but you know, he can express his opinion.
I tell you what, thinking person can understand that there's a stark difference. There's no way my kind of information that I send to whomever related to a particular matter should be tabled before the House of Assembly. He should know there's such a thing as quote unquote due process. Yeah. And the fact is, Minister Jerome Fitzgerald, my God, the Minister of Education, he should be intelligent enough to understand that there's a right and a wrong way to go through to have himself heard. Now, all of a sudden, what happened to, I guess, it's not as related to my so I guess it's a political garbage thing too, I guess. Where was this report related to the environmental issues for that area? He didn't say about anything related to that problem, did he? So don't use this whole assertions against this institution and Mr. Bacon and whoever else and the gentleman guy. There are people who try to get on their one side of the story heard. Why isn't it we can actually convey a totally impartial, non-opinion to come and investigate the matter? Because honestly, I have absolutely no confidence in the Commissioner of Police because of his being a political appointee. And we know at the end of the day,
he was appointed by
he's going to get lost. People's information and memories, everybody's memories are going to be all out of the hall.
But you all aware that he was appointed by the former administration.
Pardon me?
The present Commissioner of Police was appointed by Mr. Ingram. You're aware of that?
Yes, I understand that. My point, I want to have somebody who can be fair, balanced, and impartial for all sides.
Understood.
And you don't think the question is
any member of Parliament investigating this matter at all? Because we all know at the end of the day, everything conveniently gets left on the side, forgotten, files get lost, and we all know you never get any resolution. And I want resolution to the point where people actually have to tender their resignation forthwith and never ever come before me to offer themselves for any public office again. Because we are honestly tired of all the shenanigans in the back and forth. If the PLP or the FLN had any good intentions for the Bahamian people, why not they table all this information? Why not table something related to transparency? Why not table campaign finance reform? Hello?
Yes, hello. I appreciate your call. Thank you.
At the end of the day, we're really tired of it.
Spinning wheels.
Well said, well said, well said. You said it well.
You know what is interesting, Steve, this whole thing? We have gotten embroiled in a very simple situation with two very wealthy men and other people in Lightfoot Key who simply would wish to see the back of Mr. Peter Nygaard for various reasons. You know, they feel that the guy, he has his parties, whatever type of parties you want to call them. They feel that he's a nuisance to them, and they wish him not to be here. And if the PLP can't get rid of him, obviously they have the full support of all the members of parliament on the opposition side who is saying that he should not be allowed to remain in the Bahamas. And I guess those who are involved in this whole charade is saying that the best way to get rid of the NIGAD, if they won't do it, then we get rid of them. They're saying if you all will take over, you'll get rid of him for us. That's the way I say it. It's a game. It's a gimmick, really. It's a joke.
Yeah. Hi, Copy. How are you?
Steve, how are you?
Very good, thanks.
I couldn't help but call back again.
Okay.
And I listened to a lot of the comments that went through just now. And I think I'm happy that you picked up when, again, Mr. Miller came to his blunt speaking and to a position that a nationalist would say. And the callers that have been calling, I want to come right back around to where you were right before you started taking calls just now. The callers who've been calling have been echoing really what you were saying, in that there's a calling for a convergence. There's a calling for a nationalist sentiment about people who really only have one thing as their primary concern in their political service, which is national service, not necessarily pandering to any particular party or party line or party position just because it's a red or a yellow position. I have worked very closely with Mr. Miller before in the hurricane relief.
Yes.
He and I traveled, and I mean, rode shoulder to shoulder
Yeah, some good trips
for hours, and this man is a nationalist. And whenever he gets seized fully of the information, he comes down with a national position.
Yeah.
So this information, one of the things I'm going to do as I have gathered it, is I'm going to fully inform Mr. Miller about everything to do, for example, with this beach access. And I know the nationalist passion in him before he can even think about what is the right political move to do or not. He's going to speak to it as a nationalist.
Guarantee that.
Okay? And whatever the political fallout is, the hell with it. You know? So I want you to get back to needling him a little bit on that convergence there.
Yeah.
There
I
are
already
many
got my
people
answer.
who are born free
I got my answer from him, you know. He says that he's prepared to be open-minded and listen in on anything. If it makes sense, he will be a part of that.
Well, I didn't hear that so clear.
Oh, I can get him to say it again then.
Oh, I listened. I listened carefully.
That's important, eh, John?
Because I know you're sitting with a born-free nationalist, a true born-free
No
nationalist.
question about it.
I can listen very carefully.
I appreciate it. That's
Thank you much.
Leslie Miller. The fellow wanted to hear you say categorically what I've just said that you said. You kind of slipped it in at the end, so maybe it got lost at the moment. But the question why I was talking about the convergence was that there are many people who feel as if you are a frustrated politician with a group of people who, in my words, may have lost their way from what is national. What is the focus? What was the focus of the people you talk about? God rest her dead, Celine Pinner, you always talk about. And I'm asking you if in fact there is a like-mindedness among all the different fractions of people who in fact are going on a new road in a new direction with a philosophy that's sound, that's nationalistic, as John put it. If that is something that you could be open-minded and be a part of.
Well, you know, as I indicated to you earlier, listen, I have the greatest respect for all of my colleagues in Parliament, PLP as well as FNMs. I am a member of the Progressive Party. I have indicated to you that time is of the essence of these groups that you mentioned. You said 7 groups.
Yeah,
11
groups.
That you are aware of.
People coming together
looking
from
at
different
trying to come together for some convergence to come up with a new entity that they believe they have the right answers for the Bahamas. I think any fair-minded Bahamian who loves his country and have his people at heart would be willing to sit with them and see what it is they have in mind, where they're going, and where is I feel is in the best interest of my country. I'm open to that.
Yeah. Okay, that's
Fully.
fine. All right, John, I hope you heard that. Hard copy, how are you?
Good.
Yes, sir.
Kenny, and good afternoon to you again.
Good afternoon, sir.
My beloved, how are you?
I'm very good.
Good.
I want to make comment to this episode, which has been tabled in the House of Assembly.
Yeah.
And has now been refused or denied or injuncted in the court.
Yeah.
By an instruction. And I say this piggybacking on the comments made by the data commissioner, who suggested and made clear that she was not able to instruct for advised on what is tabled in the Parliament, but however decided to caution Parliament.
Yes.
Now, Parliament is the highest court in the land. It is instructed by the Governor General for the Senate. And anyone else, perhaps through the tabling of an Auditor General report, that individual, but no one else. And I found
Thank you, sir.
comments very offensive that the group to which the people elect and the team to which, whether PLP or FNM or DNA or whoever, that they are the ones who do whatever to protect the unity and sanctity of this place.
Yes.
I find also it's very offensive that these people,
So do I.
these same suspects, who are walking around every day, but they want freedom of information, and who was so supportive as I am of opening the airwaves, but now retreat in their position and not want the public to know what they knew they were doing. And I think as a society, one of the greatest elements of the community is the 40 states.
That's right.
Because in the 40 states, there exists an avenue to reveal truth.
Yes.
Beyond politics,
Yes.
beyond political colors.
Yep.
And the revelation of that truth is to enlighten people.
And educate.
And educate people. But yes, the group would say they want freedom of information. Don't want that to occur. And so I hope we can get beyond this point about whether the documents will be tabled or not, or whatever decision the speaker has. And I hope the public could be enlightened as to how there was a collusion by a group to destabilize the duly elected government of the Bahamas, and by doing so, replace it with whom or whatever they opted to succeed.
Quite interesting.
To do their bidding.
I also want to talk about this national convergence, because today, right now, in the Free National Movement, there exists 3 groups and sects. You have the UBP, you have the Cecilites,
Yep.
you have the Free ELPs, you have the NDP, the new group we just joined, you have the BDM, all aligning themselves, and even you have right now some former DNA that exists.
Yes.
But we all see, with all those many views, what has now occurred to that party. It is almost poison and toxic, with converging ideas and no real support to the present leader. And I say that if anyone has the fire or the will to make their country better, they should join the political establishment that exists today and try and fuse their ideas, whether it's PLP, FNM, or DNA, in those institutions, and open their eyes and open the vision of the organization to a greater and common, loftier goal. But this whole idea to now establish some splinter, whatever, outside of what we now currently exist, they must always remember something. That we, the people on the ground, who are watching all of this, decide who's going to run our $2.2+ billion business.
Very true.
And no individual or grouping besides that. It is decided by us on the ground.
Well said, sir. Well said.
All right. I appreciate your call.
Well said.
We
Thank
had
you so much.
Strong opinion.
Very enlightening.
Strong opinion,
Very
my friend.
enlightening. Very enlightening.
Strong opinion, but operative word, opinion. I appreciate your call. All right. Okay. Hard copy, how are you?
Hi, Stephen. Good evening, Mr. Miller.
Good evening to you, sir.
Steve, as usual, very enlightening conversation. Let me just move on to the point. Basically, the previous caller, he has spoken more than a mouthful on target. I am fully in agreement with him. The beauty with what we see today is that you have the younger generation coming, as well as the current middle class, supposed middle class. Our eyes are now well open, wide open to how we feel this country should have been shaped and formed from our parents' time up to now. What I mean by that is simply this, Mr. McKinney, is that you have, just as previous caller said, you now have a coalition, whether you believe it or not. There is a coalition that actually exists out here across all party lines, where we all feel, as the previous female caller had called in the state, her dismay at the way this country is right now in its current form.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of us who are, as John Boss would call, born free, nationalists. You know, and it takes some of us, some of the things that we have seen our parents gone through, and what we are now enjoying today for ourselves. It now takes the passion that we have inside now to bring about the change that we want to see in this country. You know, it's easy to say that a person or a party has all of the answer to the ills of this country.
They don't.
But let's not deceive ourselves. No one party, no one political party has all the answers.
No.
It takes all of we, the Bahamian people, who are serious about country first. And this is where the problem comes in. Because a lot of them who talk out here, they're not concerned about country first. They're looking at themselves first.
To be elected.
Yes, exactly. It's some of us out here now who watching our country drift into the abyss of unable to return. And we're watching it adrift. And yet, some of us sit on the sidelines and seeing it adrift and would not lift a finger to try and rescue this country. Whereas there's some of us out here who are really concerned about the Bahamas that we know from back in the 60s and the 70s, the peaceful way of life, the tranquility, the brotherhood and the sisterhood, the respect for each other. All of that is gone today. Nobody has respect for anyone, and some of us are just yearning for that ambiance to return back to us, to give our people some type of semblance of who the Bahamians really are.
Well said. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
But let me just say this, that I heard the brother who spoke so eloquently, the previous caller, and I heard this man here who just called just now, and both of them are saying something that they didn't say. They're both saying exactly why there's a convergence. First and foremost, there's a philosophy and an ideology within the two major political parties right now. You join the line.
The same, really.
Exactly. You join the line and you follow the conventions of these two entities. The first thing. New growth in these two political organizations is true in that, and I got to go off there, I know. It is true, and there's a whole different variety of ideas and thoughts.
Yes.
But people who line up with those parties because they didn't believe that they can go the way of a new entity and bring about the conversions that is automatically happening by itself.
Yes.
See, there's a time when certain things just happen because the time is now. And that's all this is. We can fight it as much as we want. We can debunk it and say and deny it and say it can't happen because this is how it always has been. But my friend,
it's a hell of a task.
Nothing when a time has come for something to happen, it automatically happens. You know, so then the building around the country for 25 years thereabouts, and no one ever thought that a political party would form and take 20 years to be able to bring about a change.
That's true.
A political party was formed, and all along, the leader of that political party that would bring the change was residing within the PLP.
Yes.
And guess what happened in 1992? A change came into the Bahamas. A change that was so very, very bold that it almost wrecked the whole psyche of individuals who would never be the same again. I'm saying it has already been predicted, prophesied, foretold that the time for a new Bahamas is now. It has already been said. Yeah. It has been said too that the next elections will be one like you have never seen before.
Yes.
It has been said.
Yes.
People normally say, well, prophets are not considered prophets until they have made a prophecy and they are not around to see the prophecy. That's also been fulfilled. The point what I'm making is this. We are in a dispensation in our time, in our life, in our history, where naturally the old walls are crumbling because they need repair. And when the old walls crumble, something has to replace it. The convergence is going to replace it. And the convergence may well be people of all different mindsets, from all different political persuasions, coming forth on one idea that it's time to do something different and go in a different direction. That's what the convergence
Again, as I said, the time is of the
That
essence.
is what the convergence is.
Time
And this is
of the
what
essence.
Miles Monroe said as we end the show today. This is the prophecy.
They're the old weapons that kept the Bahamas don't work no more.
That's what you want to write.
Yeah.
I speak prophetically that we are now about to enter in the next few days a period of what I call the last moment. From July 2014 to July 2015, there shall be tremendous change in 1 year. You watch. There shall be many people dying. I'm telling you, many will be sick, many will be removed in ways we can't explain. Why? Because God got to make sure that the place is clear. I speak prophetically.
Look at who went.
You watch my word. In the next
Look
12
who
months, from the day of July 10th
Scary one.
to 14, there shall be magnificent changes that no one can control. There shall emerge in the next 12 months leaders you never saw before. There shall be young women and men emerging whose ideas will blow your mind, and they cannot wear the old armor anymore. They shall walk with a new mentality. They shall have a spirit upon them, that to be the spirit of God, and they shall take us into the next Bahamas. I speak to you with my whole heart that God is saying the time for a new leadership has been birthed. It has arrived.
Okay, so it has arrived. Some people don't know it yet. That's what I was telling you. It is here. There's nothing we can do about it. It has already come. It is just a matter of it formulating itself and showing itself to us. That's why you have people from all corners of the Bahamas galvanizing, coming together in their own neck of the woods to come center stage and say, hey, here it is. Believe that. That's
Interesting, very interesting.
Believe that.
Very interesting. I'm his soul rest in peace, Dr. Miles Monroe.
Anyway, I see somebody's leaving a call over. We're already late. Let me see. How you doing? Hi there, hard copy. Hi there, hard copy. Okay, they're perhaps gone. Mr. Miller, let me thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Stopping by and talking and sharing with us. We do hope that all things are going to work out in best interest. At heart, all of us want to see the country prosper.
Yes.
I just want to see the government of the Bahamas, whatever that is, succeed. To build our country, to make things happen.
Their success is our success.
To make it big.
Likewise, their failure is our failure.
So that's what this is all about. We come here every day and labor on behalf of the Bahamian people and our country.
You do a good job for us.
We mean to see things happen in a good way. All right. So let me thank you. Have yourself a good weekend.
Thank you all and thank Bahamians.
Let's hope.
Have a good evening and God bless you all for the weekend.
All right. Let's go home.
God bless the Bahamas. Listen, those two.
What is that you're playing? Jokey Leaders? What is that? Oh, Nasty. You're playing that KB. Yeah, I'm talking about Nasty Nassau. Anyway, let me just tell you that today's show has been brought to you by Cleco Liquidators, NIB, Nassau Motor Company, Junket O'Connor.